Good evening, everyone. This is Prayer Marlon with Marlon's Money Mondays. It's the same thing that I do in Creole, but now I am doing it in English to help those when it comes to money, finance, and budgeting. And today we will talk about how to do a budget. So how to create a budget, actually. And I'll give an example and see what we need to go through so we can get this all taken care of for you. So before we start, one of the things I want to read here, because I always like to use principles of money that are very helpful for you all. And for those of you that are coming on or that are viewing, please hit the like button, share this video with others that could benefit from it so that they could also receive a blessing from these videos and learn more about how to manage money themselves. But I want to start off here. There's a proverb. It's Proverbs chapter 10, actually, in the Bible. Verse 4, it says, "He who has a slack hand becomes poor, but the hand of the diligent, makes rich." He who has a slack hand becomes poor, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. And today I want to use the example of two families, actually. One family, we'll call them the Wilson family, and the other family we'll call the Jones family. All have a different perspective about money. So in this illustration, the Wilson family decides to use a budget. And when people hear the word budget, they think about, oh man, I gotta, have money control me. Actually, it's you telling your money what to do, where to go. You're controlling where your money goes. You're controlling your spending, and you're making sure that the money is taken care of well. So for all of you that have decided to come and watch this channel, thank you. For those that support the videos, I do thank you and ask that you share this because it is beneficial for many people. But let's get into it. So the Wilson family is a family after taxes that makes $5,000 a month. So $5,000 a month, this is how they do their budget. They do a monthly budget. Mr. and Mrs. Wilson sits down and do a monthly budget where $500, well, before I even start, this is an example of a family that's already paid off all their debt, has a fully funded emergency fund, has the college money saved for their kids, and also is investing in retirement, has paid off their house already, and now is in the stage of what we call step 8 in the 8 steps of finance. To learn more about the 8 steps of finance, you could go in my channel on the playlist under the money management. You can see the 8 steps of finance. It's in the list of videos, one of the earlier videos. And it is, so they have $500 that they put aside a month out of the $5,000 for housing costs. So their house is paid off, but there's still property tax and there is still homeowners insurance that is need to be paid every month. So housing costs is the $500. Another thing that they have is $500 they put aside for food. So $500, we said housing costs, another $500 for food. Next thing they put in their budget is utilities. So utilities, they put $400 for utilities. And bonsoir. This is the English version. The Creole version will be at 8 o'clock, but you can listen in. Thank you so much for your support. I had been requested to come up with English versions for those that speak English. So from 7 to 7:30, I do it in English for the English-speaking people. And then from 8 to 8:30 is our normal time for the people that speak Creole to help money management and finance. But right now we're talking about the Wilson family. And in this example, the Wilson family makes $5,000 after taxes. 500 they pay for housing, 500 they pay for food, 400 they pay for utilities. And utilities would be cell phones or electricity that they have in the house, internet or cable, all of that I encompass under utilities, and that's what they put each month in their budget for utilities. And for transportation, their cars are paid off because we said they don't have any debt, but there's still car insurance and there's still gas that needs to be paid. So $500 a month for 2 cars they have that they put aside for transportation. And this is a Christian family, so they put aside $500 a month for tithing, giving a tenth back, as it says in Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. And $750 they put aside because in step number 5, we talk about putting aside 15% for retirement. So they put aside that $750 aside each month for the retirement. So when they become at the age of elderly, maybe 60, 65, 70, and they're no longer able to work or are no longer wanting to work, they can go ahead and use that money that they have piled up for retirement. So the next one is investments. So now they're at that stage where they can invest, because we talk about in step 8 where you can save, spend and give. And part of the saving is investing. So $600 a month they put in investments. And then with the rest of the money, they have spending money. They have a spending budget. So Mrs. Wilson, the wife, she gets $250 each month to spend on whatever she wants. She wants to get a new clothes, a new purse, whatever it may be. $250 a month is put aside for her spending money. And Mr. Wilson gets $200 a month that he has for his spending money. So they also, in this illustration, have 2 children. And the family with the 2 children put $100 a month. They budget $100 a month for their 2 children. So with this $100 a month that they budget for their 2 children, they could save it for either birthdays or special occasions, anything of that nature is what they could use for that event, those type of events. And then we have something that a lot of people do not think of, a sinking fund. So what a sinking fund is, you can think of when you need car maintenance, you planning for it, you have the sinking fund ready. Or anything, housing maintenance, things that needs to be done, not all the time, but a fund that will come about. Maybe vehicle registration. So they put aside $500 a month for their sinking fund. And then the last thing they do, because in step number 8, we talk about giving. So they give $200. So that all encompasses all their $5,000 they're able to utilize. So this is the Wilson family. They have followed the steps. They're at step number 8. They're at the step where they could save, give, and also spend. Now we'll talk about a different family in this illustration. The family we'll talk about is the Jones family. So we've already talked about the Wilson family and how they budgeted very well. Now we'll go on to the Jones family. So the Jones family, they make $7,000 a month after taxes. So after taxes, making $7,000 a month, they're able to You would think they're able to take care of all their expenses. So with them, they have 1950 that goes into housing. They have a mortgage payment still. They have homeowners insurance, and they pay property taxes. So that's what they have with that amount, 1950, that's going into. For food, they like to also do a lot of eating out. So for food, 750 a month. It's on average. So they don't even have a budget when it comes to that. So on average, it's 750 a month. So these are the ones that are not budgeting. Utilities on average, $600 a month. That includes the cell phone, that includes the rent, that includes, not the rent, excuse me, cell phone, that includes the electricity bills, that includes the cable and internet. And then transportation. They have 2 vehicles that they purchased that they're still making car payments on. Unlike the Wilson family, the Jones family still have a lot of debt, it seems. And they're paying, when it comes to the car payments, averaging $500 each car, plus insurance, plus the gas that they're paying. Altogether, they're paying about $1,700. $1,700 is what they're paying a month for transportation. And they still have student loans. So they're paying the student loans, trying to pay a little bit over the minimum, but they're paying $500 a month on the loans that they have. And they're paying on the credit cards because they have mismanaged money, as you'll see later, and now have been in debt, and they needed to use credit cards to take care of some expenses that were not necessary but wanted expenses. Now they have $500 a month that they're paying on average. They're paying a little bit above the minimum. So the Joneses is that family. And Mrs. Jones, she likes to shop very lavishly. So on average, she spends about $500 a month on pretty much getting the things that she wants. If it's either jewelry or whatever it may be, clothing, whatever it may be that she wants, a new purse, she's spending $500 a month. Where Mr. Jones is spending on an average $450 a month. So let's say these are all the numbers we have: 1950 for the housing, 750 for the food, 600 for the utilities, 1700 for the transportation, 500 for the student loans, 500 for the credit cards, 500 for Mrs. Jones spending that month, 450 for Mr. Jones spending that month. That only leaves them with $50 left over. $50 left over. That's sad. You're making $1,700 a month, and you have $50 left over. But that is the case with a lot of people, sadly, and families in America. And that's the case with a lot of people that have money, they're making it, they're trying to get by, they're struggling. But as we put in here, or as I read through, they're spending $1,700 a month on transportation. Not to say you don't need transportation, but that's a lot. $1,700 on transportation. And then you look at them, they have the student loans that they're paying $500 on. And they have credit cards that they're paying $500 on. And look at this. Mrs. Jones doesn't see the urgency of the situation that she's in, that she's spending all that money, $500 on average a month, on just things that she wants. And the same goes for Mr. Jones. $450 on average is what he's spending on things that he wants. They're not managing their money well. They're not doing as they should. When you manage your money well, like the Wilson family, you're going to be living much better, in a better situation. You're going to be more prepared, as we see in the Wilson family. They've already paid off their house. They manage their money for the food, and they manage their money for the utilities and transportation. Those cars are already paid off. And they're investing in retirement. They have other investments that they're investing in. So they are taking care, they're preparing not only for today, living for today, but they're also preparing for tomorrow. Because it's not to say that they're not enjoying life, because Mrs. Wilson gets $250 of spending money each month that she spends. And she can still enjoy with that money. And let's say she doesn't use the 250, she could roll over whatever she didn't spend to the next month. Where Mrs. Jones is spending $500 each month on average. And it's not budgeted. One is and the other isn't. So this is why when it comes to budgeting, it's very important, because you know where your money's going. You're telling your money where to go. You're planning for your future. You're planning for something that is good for you. You're planning for a better life for you and your family when you know where your money's going, instead of just day by day living and spending money and not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow. So this is why it is important, as the Wilson family and that example that they live. There's an article that I've found online, and I'll have the website in the description, but it comes from CBN News here. So the CBN News, the article, it says 1 out of 3 Americans don't use a budget, but 93% say everyone needs a budget. So 1 out of 3 Americans don't use a budget, but 93% say that everyone needs a budget. There's a problem there, because 93% saying that everyone needs a budget, but only 66% is actually doing a budget. And those that are doing it, are they fully following it? Because there is a huge amount of people that may just put something together that don't follow it. But when you do a budget, you're telling the money where to go. It's like if you have children. You have a child and you let them do whatever they want. And then when they grow up and you're wondering, why is this child so chaotic? It's because you didn't have structure. But when you have structure and say, hey, you're going to obey what I'm saying in the house, I'm the parent of the house, and these are my rules and you need to follow them, then there's structure. And then the kid will know why and what he or she needs to and need not do in the home. Same way when it comes to you managing your money. You're telling this dollar bill or this $100 bill or wherever the money is that you have that you're spending, hey, this is where you're going, because I need you to go there, because I need that to be taken care of. These bills need to be taken care of. My future needs to be taken care of. And I need to be taken care of because I like to have fun. And the Wilson family also, they're grateful to God. They're Christians in this illustration. They even give 10% back to God, and that's for the Wilson family. The point of money management is you telling your money to where to go. That's the point of creating a budget, that you have control of your money and not letting your money have control of you, like the Jones family. So in the article, I'll go into it and say some of the things that I've learned from this article. It was talking about how, when it comes to managing your money, budgeting, it is also known. I'll take an excerpt from it. It says that why don't non-budgeters budget? The majority of non-budgeters claim that they don't have enough income to require a budget, which is an unfortunate finding, because lower income people have the least room for the financial error and the greatest need for a budget. That is true. So if you say, oh, I don't have enough money to do a budget, that is nonsense. You should do a budget if you make $10,000 a month or if you make $2,000 a month. You should still do a budget because you're telling your money where to go. You're prepared for when a situation happens. And there's so many risks that could be avoided for those that do a budget compared to those that do not do a budget. So when it comes to doing a budget, one of the things that I've noticed, it says that budgeting or other budgeting reasons are centered on saving for wealth building, retirement, budgeting, as well as major life changes. So major life changes. You get your job, you lose the job. Or you have income reduction. Something happens and, let's say one spouse get injured and isn't able to work for a while. Things like that you have to be prepared for. If you have a budget, if you have an emergency fund, if you have a budget, if you have a college fund, you could sleep better. You could, know that, hey, I've been saving for my child's future. Or if you have, any type of money, a sinking fund, like the Wilson family, they have a sinking fund just in case something were to happen. So if they have, the car needs to be fixed, instead of going into the emergency fund, they have the sinking fund that they can use that money for oil change, hospital visit. They've been saving $500 a month. Let's say they haven't used that sinking fund for 3 months. That $500 just went to $1,500 in 3 months. So when you have that sinking fund, you're prepared for situations like that, which will come about. So it's important for you to have that sinking fund. It's important for you to have a budget set up. If you follow the 8 steps, you start off with budgeting. You're telling your money what to do. The other steps I will go through in the upcoming weeks. In the upcoming several weeks, I will go through each step and break it down for you. But this article, it's a great article here because, it shows that in America, we need to look at our values. We need to see what's going on. We need to have what's called discipline. It says that not everyone who budgets will be successful because a budget is only a guideline. I like that because it says a budget is only a guideline. It takes objectivity to set a reasonable budget and discipline to stick to it. So this is from CBN News. It's Money Tips. I didn't get the author's name here. Money Tips is what it says, and it's from CBN News. So if you go to www.cbn.com, so www.1.c, numerical 1, so www.numerical1.cbn.com, you'll be able to find this article. It says that the 23% who say they live paycheck to paycheck rarely have money for, special times, occasions, like holidays and other occasions that come about. But if you have a budget and you plan for those occasions, if you have a budget and you plan for those times or those things that come about, then you won't have to worry about anything because you have a budget, you have a plan, you have a goal, hey, I have this that I'm doing. And you'll be able to do what you have to do. You have to take care of, if you have bills to pay, if you have things to save for, events that are coming up. It comes in handy when you have that budget. That budget is a guideline. It's a tool that you can use. It's a tool that you can use for yourself, for your family. It's a tool that you can use for success. And this is what this channel is about. Helping and winning is the title of the channel. It's about helping all of you who decide to watch these videos. Helping all of you who decide to subscribe to the channel. Helping you to be better in whatever you do. Helping and winning. Helping you to win at what you do. Win at finance. Win in different factors or different stages that you may go through in life. But if you see this and you're like, you know what? Hey, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. 10 years later, that's you. Where that one person or that two person or whoever it may be, if there's a lot of people that decide to follow the precepts, would later on look back and be like, man, I'm glad I listened to Fremont because he gave information that he learned when he was going through his schooling, doing what he did in school. You know, when I went to school and did research on this and had to do projects, getting my master's in business and finance and taking all these classes, finance and economics, and seeing the struggle that people go through, I said, I need to bring this to the Haitian community. I need to bring it to my people. But also I'm bringing it to those that are English speaking because I have friends that say, hey, you could do these videos in English as well and help others. You know, it's good you helping the Haitian community, but do it as well in English. So that's why I started this 7 o'clock series. And hopefully more people join in, more people watch, and more people can gain from it. Because this information is beneficial. So for those of you that are watching, please share this with somebody else that could benefit from it. Somebody else that you see that is struggling financially, that just need that right guidance, need somebody that knows what they're talking about when it comes to finance, when it comes to money, somebody that knows what it is to reach that certain level. That person that is already experienced. It's just like when you're going to the gym. Let's say you're trying to get fit, you're out of shape. You know, that person, that's your personal trainer that may be fit, muscled up, and have a 8-pack. You can't tell that person, hey, you know, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to eat all the sweets I want and do what I want. Because that person knows how to get to where he or she is. You the one that needs to be trained. So this information is good for those of you that is willing to listen. Those that are struggling. Now, if you have your money right, everything is going good for you, hey, I'm happy for you. But if you can, share this video with somebody that may not be doing so well financially, that could benefit from this information, that could benefit very well from these videos. Because I know that person, in the long run, if they listen, maybe 2 years, 5 years, maybe even 10 years down the line, that person would be happy they have listened and got the information that they could from this video. So for all of you that have taken the time to come and check out the channel, thank you. Again, before I close out, it's about to be 7:30, and I'm going to prepare for the 8 o'clock. So those of you that have somebody that's speak Creole, a Haitian friend, tell them about the channel on the 8 o'clock show that I'll have on what's called L'Agent Lindsay. But I want to leave you with, again, Proverbs 10 verse 4 says, he who has a slack hand becomes poor, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. So you all have a blessed rest of your Monday and a blessed rest of your week. And thank you for joining on Marlon's Money Mondays.